The war ended 3 days after the Battle of Kalar Prime. The Kalari Empire, humbled and broken, transmitted their unconditional surrender. They agreed to every term Earth demanded. Their military would be dismantled. Their conquered worlds would be freed. War reparations would be paid for generations. Ambassador Karen Foster became Earth's first representative to the newly formed Galactic Council. She was a former pilot who had survived the bombardment by pure luck. Now she stood in a chamber filled with representatives from 40 different species, all of them watching humanity with a mixture of fear and respect. The Treaty of Sol was signed in Earth orbit, aboard a space station built from the wreckage of Kalari ships. The symbolism was not lost on anyone. Human strength had been built from the ashes of those who attacked them. The treaty reshaped the galaxy in ways no one had imagined possible. 12 species that had been enslaved by the Kalari for centuries gained their freedom. Trade routes were reorganized, new laws were written, and at the center of it all, humanity stood as the species that had ended 3,000 years of Kalari dominance. Earth itself faced decades of rebuilding. The bombardment had killed 3 billion people. Half the planet's infrastructure was destroyed. Cities that had stood for thousands of years were gone. But humanity had survived, and that was what mattered. President Helen Grant, in her final year in office, stood in the ruins of New York City. Construction crews worked around her, beginning the long process of rebuilding. She spoke to a crowd of survivors, her words broadcast across the world and to human colonies being established throughout the solar system. We paid a terrible price for our survival. We lost 3 billion people. We lost cities, history, irreplaceable treasures. But we proved something to ourselves and to the galaxy. Humans do not break. We bend, we adapt, we overcome. They tried to destroy us. Instead, they united us. Today, Earth stands stronger than ever. Not because we won a war, but because we survived one. Admiral Jake Foster, promoted after the war, oversaw construction of Earth's permanent defense fleet. The Sol Defense Force grew to 50 warships in the first year, each one incorporating lessons learned from the Kalari War. The solar system became a fortress. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid had sensors and weapons. No one would ever surprise Earth again. The ancient technology found in the hidden caches was studied extensively. Dr. Patricia Hayes led the research, working with scientists from across the globe. They discovered that the artifacts were indeed from ancient humans, a civilization that had existed 5,000 years ago. Those ancient humans had fought a war against an enemy that nearly wiped out all life in the galaxy. In their final days, they seeded Earth with survivors and hid technology for their descendants to find. The genetic memory of that ancient war had shaped modern humanity in profound ways. The persistence, the refusal to surrender, the pack bonding, all of it was evolution's response to fighting an existential threat. We are survivors, Dr. Hayes explained in her report to the president. Our ancestors faced extinction and chose to fight. They left us tools and knowledge. They made sure we would be ready when the galaxy found us again. We are not a new species. We are an old one, awakened. The 5 warships that had destroyed the Kalari fleet became symbols. The Defiance, Vengeance, Fury, Justice, and Reckoning were upgraded and maintained as Earth's first line of defense. But they also became something more. They became peacekeepers. Captain Nicole Barnes retired from military service and wrote a book about the war. It became required reading in schools across Earth and was translated into dozens of alien languages. Her perspective on humanity's place in the galaxy was both humble and honest. We are not invincible, she wrote. We can be hurt, defeated, killed, but we are dangerous because we remember. Every wrong, every loss, every person taken from us, we remember it all. And we will cross the galaxy itself to balance the scales. That is not strength. That is stubbornness weaponized by evolution. We are not superior to other species. We are survivors. And survivors do whatever it takes. The Kalari Empire became a shadow of its former self. Their military was reduced to local defense forces. Their economy collapsed under the weight of war reparations. Many Kalari blamed their leaders for ignoring the ancient warnings. Dr. Zell Corthan, the scientist who had tried to warn them, became a voice for peace between the species. She visited Earth 3 years after the war, walking through the memorial built in New York. The memorial listed every name of every person killed in the bombardment. It took hours just to walk past all the names. Zell stood there for a long time, reading the names, understanding the price her people had caused. "I am sorry," she said to the human guide showing her around. "I tried to warn them. They did not listen." The guide, a young woman named Lisa who had lost her family in the war, looked at the old Kalari scientist. "We know, we read your research." "You tried. That matters. The galaxy adjusted to the new reality. Humanity was real. Humanity was dangerous, and humanity was expanding. Human colonies spread throughout the solar system. Mars gained its first million residents. Europa's ice seas were explored. Titan's methane lakes became mining sites. Earth built ships that could cross the galaxy, but humanity also showed a different side. When the Corvin species faced a plague that threatened their extinction, human doctors volunteered to help. When the Teller homeworld star began to die, human engineers designed evacuation plans. Earth did not just take revenge. They also gave aid, formed alliances, and sought peace. 10 years after the war, President Grant attended the dedication of the Sol Memorial Station. The station orbited Earth at the exact point where the Valiant had made its last stand. It served as both a memorial to the fallen and a reminder to the galaxy. Grant, now elderly and nearing the end of her life, gave one final speech. Her words were recorded and saved for future generations. "We did not ask for war. We did not seek to become legends. We wanted only to live in peace, to reach the stars and discover what waited for us out there. The Kalari took that peace from us. They made us into weapons. But in doing so, they forgot the most important lesson the ancient warnings tried to teach. Humanity is not dangerous because we are strong. We are dangerous because we endure. We survive. We remember. And we never forgive those who attack our home." She paused, looking out at Earth, still scarred but healing. "This is not a threat. This is a promise. Earth will never be defenseless again. Humanity will never be victims again. We are here. We are awake. And the galaxy will learn to live with us, or learn why the old empires feared our name." 20 years after the war, Captain Sarah Mitchell commanded the Defiance on an exploration mission to unexplored regions of the galaxy. Her crew was diverse now, including not just humans but Kalari, Corvin, Teller, and others. The galaxy was learning that humans could be allies as well as enemies. As the ship prepared to jump to hyperspace, her first officer, a young human named Chris Taylor, asked a question. "Do you think we will encounter more hostile species out there?" Mitchell considered the question carefully. She had fought in the war, survived when so many had not. She understood what humanity was capable of, both good and bad. "Probably," she said honestly. "The galaxy is large and not everyone will want peace. But there is a difference now. Before the war, no one knew what humans were. They thought we were myths. Now they know we are real. They know what we can do. They know that if they threaten Earth, we will respond with everything we have. That knowledge will save lives. Ours and theirs." She looked at the view screen showing the stars ahead. "We are not conquerors. We are explorers. But we are also protectors. We protect our home, our allies, our people, and anyone who forgets that will learn the same lesson the Kalari learned." The Defiance jumped to hyperspace, carrying humanity's flag deeper into the galaxy. Behind them, Earth continued to heal and grow. The scars of war would never fully disappear, but they served as reminders of what humanity had survived, reminders of the price of underestimating them. In classrooms across Earth and its colonies, children learned about the war. They learned about the valiant sacrifice. They learned about the 5 ships that saved their species. They learned about the billions who died. And they learned the most important lesson of all. Humanity was not a myth. They were real. They were survivors, and they were here to stay. Across the galaxy, in archives and libraries, in government buildings and military academies, the ancient warnings about humans were read again. But now they were not dismissed as legends. They were treated as historical fact, and new warnings were added to them. The humans returned. They fought, they won. Do not make them your enemy. Do not threaten their home. They remember everything. They forgive nothing, and they will cross the galaxy itself to protect what is theirs. This is not myth. This is history. Learn from it. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of humanity's expansion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. They had thought humans were myths, stories told to frighten children. Then Earth's retribution destroyed that illusion forever. Now everyone knew the truth. Humanity was real, and they were here to stay. 6 months had passed since the Kalari invaded. Earth's surface bore the scars of war. Cities lay in ruins. Billions had died. But humanity had not surrendered. They had built a fleet instead. Admiral Kresh Vonar prepared for his final assault on Earth. He now commanded 400 warships, the largest Kalari fleet ever assembled. He was confident. The humans had fought well, better than expected, but they were running out of weapons. Their hidden installations were being destroyed one by one. Their resistance was weakening. "Today we end this," Vonar announced to his fleet. "All ships prepare for simultaneous bombardment. We will target every remaining military facility at once. The humans will have no choice but to surrender." In space beyond Mars, the human fleet waited. 5 massive ships, each one larger than anything Earth had built before. The Defiance, Vengeance, Fury, Justice, and Reckoning hung in formation, their new engines powered down, their weapons charged and ready. Captain Nicole Barnes stood on the bridge of the Defiance. Around her, a crew of 200 worked at stations that combined human design with ancient alien technology. Every person on board had volunteered, knowing this might be a one-way mission. Every person had lost someone they loved to the Kalari bombardment. "Status report," Barnes ordered. Commander Jake Foster checked his screens. "All ships report ready. Weapons systems at full power. Shields are stable. The new engines are responding perfectly." Barnes looked at the tactical display showing the Kalari fleet gathering around Earth. 400 ships. She had 5. The odds were impossible, but humans had never cared much about odds. "Open a channel to Earth," Barnes said. "Let the President know we are ready." President Helen Grant received the message in her bunker beneath North America. She had aged 10 years and 6 months. The weight of billions of deaths pressed on her shoulders every day, but now finally they had a chance to strike back. "This is President Grant to Captain Barnes. You have authorization to engage. Show them what happens when they attack our world. Make them understand that humanity remembers. Make them pay." Barnes nodded slowly. She opened a fleet-wide channel. "All ships, this is Defiance. Today we fight for everyone we lost. Today we show the galaxy that humans are not myths or legends. We are real, we are dangerous, and we protect what is ours. Engage at will." But before attacking, Barnes sent one final transmission to the Kalari fleet. She wanted them to hear this. She wanted them to understand what was coming. "Admiral Vonar, this is Captain Nicole Barnes of the Terran Defense Fleet. You came to our world 6 months ago. You destroyed our cities. You killed billions of our people. You thought we were weak. You thought we would surrender. You were wrong. Humanity is not a myth. We are your nightmare, and nightmares don't negotiate." The 5 human ships appeared on Kalari sensors all at once. Vonar stared at the readings in disbelief. 5 ships but massive, and their energy signatures were off the scale. Where had the humans gotten this technology? "All vessels engage the human ships. Destroy them immediately." 50 Kalari cruisers broke formation and accelerated toward the human fleet. They launched missiles, hundreds of them, expecting to overwhelm the enemy with numbers. The missiles closed the distance, locked on target, and then the human ships fired back. The Defiance unleashed her singularity cannons. Miniature black holes appeared in space, each one lasting only seconds, but long enough. Kalari missiles, ships, everything they touched was pulled apart at the atomic level. 10 cruisers disappeared in the first volley. Just gone, no debris, no explosion. They simply ceased to exist. The Vengeance fired next. Her weapons manipulated space-time itself, creating zones where matter could not exist. Reality bent around her targets. 5 more Kalari ships vanished, leaving gaps in space that took seconds to heal. Admiral Vonar felt real fear for the first time. What are those weapons? How is this possible? His tactical officer had no answers. Unknown technology. Nothing in our databases matches this. "Sir, we need to retreat." "Retreat?" Vonar roared. "We have 400 ships. They have 5. All vessels, concentrate fire. Destroy them now." The Kalari fleet opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams, missiles, kinetic weapons, all of it focused on the human ships. The barrage was incredible. Enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. The human shields held. They flickered and sparked, but they held. The ancient technology proved stronger than anything the Kalari could throw at it. Captain Eric Stone commanded the Vengeance. He had been a cargo pilot before the war. His wife and children had died in the first bombardment. Now he piloted humanity's revenge. "Target their command ship. Fire the reality bomb." The weapon launched, moving faster than Kalari sensors could track. It hit Admiral Vonar's flagship dead center. The bomb did not explode. Instead, it created a bubble of altered physics. Inside that bubble, the laws of nature changed. Matter fell apart. Energy dispersed. The flagship and 300 Kalari crew stopped existing. Admiral Vonar died, never understanding what killed him. One moment he was giving orders. The next, nothing. The Kalari fleet panicked. Their admiral was dead. Their weapons did nothing to the human ships. And those 5 vessels kept advancing, kept firing, and nothing could stop them. Captain Sarah Mitchell on the Fury launched antimatter torpedoes. The yields were measured in petatons. When they hit, Kalari ships exploded with the force of small stars. Debris rained across space. Survivors in escape pods watched their fleet die around them. In 3 hours, the battle was over. 400 Kalari warships reduced to debris. Human casualties 0. The shields had held. The weapons had worked. Earth's defense was complete, but Captain Barnes was not done. She opened a channel to Earth. President Grant, Earth space is clear. The Kalari fleet is destroyed, requesting permission to proceed to Phase 2. Phase 2. Operation Retribution. Taking the war to the enemy's home. President Grant gave her approval. You have full authorization, Captain. Make them understand. Make them remember. The 5 human ships activated their faster-than-light drives. The technology, reverse-engineered from ancient artifacts and Kalari wrecks, worked perfectly. Space bent around them. In seconds, they were gone, jumping toward Kalar Prime. The journey took 2 weeks. During that time, news of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy. Other species, civilizations that the Kalari had conquered or bullied for centuries, watched in amazement. The mythical humans were real. They had destroyed the Kalari fleet. And now they were going to the Kalari homeworld. Dr. Zell Corthan, the scientist who had tried to warn her people, sat in her apartment and listened to the news. She felt no satisfaction in being right. She felt only sadness for what was coming. Her people had ignored the warnings. Now they would pay the price. The human fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kalar system. Captain Barnes stood on her bridge and looked at the Kalari homeworld on her screen. A beautiful planet covered in cities and oceans. Billions of people lived there. She thought about Earth, scarred and broken. She thought about the billions of humans who had died. She sent a message to Kalar Prime. This is Captain Nicole Barnes of the Terran Defense Fleet. 6 months ago, you attacked our world without provocation. You killed billions. You destroyed our cities. By the laws of war and the right of retaliation, we have come to deliver judgment. Surrender your military forces and stand down, or we will demonstrate why the ancient warnings told you to fear humanity. The Kalari government's response was defiant. They scrambled their home defense fleet. 500 warships, the pride of the Empire, moved to intercept 5 human vessels. The Empire's leadership refused to believe they could lose. This was their home system. They had numerical superiority. They would win. The battle that followed became legend. The burning of Kalar, historians would call it later. The human ships cut through the Kalari fleet like it was made of paper. Singularity cannons, reality bombs, antimatter torpedoes. The ancient weapons combined with human rage created destruction on a scale the galaxy had not seen in thousands of years. In 6 hours, 500 Kalari ships were gone. The orbital defenses of Kalar Prime were shattered. The planet lay defenseless before the human fleet. Captain Barnes made a decision that would define humanity's place in the galaxy forever. She could destroy Kalar Prime. 1 reality bomb would be enough. Billions would die. Earth's revenge would be complete. But she remembered something President Grant had said. We are not them. We fight to protect, not to destroy. Barnes targeted one of Kalar Prime's moons instead. The Reckoning fired a single reality bomb. The moon, a lifeless rock, simply stopped existing. Gone. Erased from reality. The gap in space slowly filled in, but the message was clear. Barnes transmitted her final message to the Kalari government. We could end you. We have the power to erase your entire species from existence. But we are not you. We do not make war on civilians. Your military is destroyed. Your fleets are gone. If you ever threaten Earth or any other world again, we will return. Next time, we will not show mercy. Remember this day. Remember that humanity is real. Remember that we choose to let you live. The bombardment continued for 3 days. Kalari weapons rained fire on Earth's surface. Cities burned. Infrastructure collapsed. Casualties climbed into the millions. The news showed images of destruction that seemed endless. Buildings reduced to rubble, families torn apart, a planet under siege. But something unexpected happened. Earth did not break. Humanity did not surrender. Instead, they grew angrier. Colonel Amy Rodriguez stood in an underground command center beneath Colorado. The facility was 3 miles below the surface, built to survive anything. She watched screens showing the devastation above. Her home city was gone. Her family was gone. She felt the rage burning in her chest, and she knew millions of others felt the same way. "Activate the defense grid," she ordered. "All systems full power." Across North America, hidden installations came online. Railgun batteries emerged from mountains. Laser arrays rose from desert floors. Missile silos, built in secret and stocked with weapons the public never knew existed, opened their hatches. These were not normal missiles. These were enhanced with alien technology found in the Mars ruins, upgraded with 30 years of secret research. The first salvo caught the Kalari by surprise. Hundreds of missiles, each moving 3 times faster than anything the Valiant had used. Admiral Vonar's shield stopped most of them, but not all. 2 cruisers took direct hits. One exploded immediately. The other spun out of control, leaking atmosphere. In Europe, Major Chris Bennett commanded similar installations. His orders were simple. Make them pay for every meter they take. His weapons fired next. Directed energy weapons powered by fusion reactors lanced up from the ground. They were experimental, barely tested, but they worked. A Kalari destroyer caught fire and fell toward Earth's atmosphere, burning up before impact. Admiral Vonar stared at his casualty reports. 5 ships damaged or destroyed in one day. The primitives were fighting back with weapons that should not exist. How did they have this technology? His intelligence had said Earth was decades away from effective space combat capabilities. "Send a priority message to Kalar Prime," Vonar ordered. "Request immediate reinforcements. The humans are not what we expected." The old warnings. They might be true. On Earth, President Grant moved between bunkers, staying ahead of Kalari targeting. She addressed the world through whatever communication network still functioned. Her message was broadcast in every language, shown on every surviving screen. They came to our home thinking we were weak. They killed our people thinking we would surrender. They were wrong. We have been preparing for this day since we learned we were not alone. Every nation, every people, we all build weapons in secret. We all prepared for war. Today we use everything we have. Today we show these invaders that humanity does not break. We fight, we survive, and we will make them regret they ever found us. The speech became a rallying cry. Across the planet, humans who had survived the bombardment dug in and fought back. Resistance groups formed. Military units that had scattered regrouped. The war was far from over. Dr. Patricia Hayes worked in a hidden laboratory beneath the ruins of Nevada. She was a xenobiologist who had studied the alien artifacts found throughout Earth's solar system. For years, she had been trying to decode the messages left in those ancient ruins. Now, with the world burning above her, she made a breakthrough. "I found it," she said to her assistant, trembling with excitement and fear. "Coordinates." The artifacts contained coordinates to hidden caches, technology, weapons, things far beyond what we have now. General Jack Morrison received her report while coordinating the defense from his own bunker. He read it twice, unable to believe what he was seeing. "Are you certain about this?" "Completely," Patricia replied over the video link. "The ruins we found on Mars, in the asteroid belt on Europa, they were all part of a network. Someone, maybe our ancestors, maybe another species, left these things for us. The message says they will activate when we need them most." "I think this qualifies." "How many sites?" Morrison asked. 15 confirmed locations throughout the solar system. If even half contain what the messages promise, we can turn this war around. Morrison authorized immediate recovery missions. Whatever ships Earth had left, civilian craft modified for combat, mining vessels with weapons bolted on, they all launched toward the coordinates. It was a desperate gamble. They were leaving Earth's defense to chase ancient promises. But they had no choice. The Kalari kept coming. Commander Liu Wei led the mission to the Mars cache. His ship, the Hong Shui, had been a cargo hauler 2 months ago. Now it carried a crew of soldiers and scientists. They landed near Olympus Mons and found exactly what the coordinates indicated. A door in the mountain sealed for thousands of years. "Open it," Liu Wei ordered. The door responded to human DNA. It recognized them. Inside, the crew found a chamber the size of a city. Ships, weapons, technology that glowed with power, and in the center a holographic message activated. It showed a human face, but not quite human. Older. Different. The being spoke in a language that their computers could translate. If you are seeing this, then the predators have returned. We left you these tools. We left you knowledge. We were once like you. We fought, we survived. We seeded Earth with our people before we fell. You are our children, across thousands of generations. The weapons here are yours. Use them. Survive. Make the predators remember why they fear humanity. The crew stood in silence. They were not alone. They had never been alone. Their species had done this before, and they had left a gift for their descendants. Commander Liu Wei sent a message back to Earth. We found it. Everything the doctor promised and more. We are loading the ships now. Tell the president we can win this. Admiral Lisa Chen received similar reports from other sites. Europa, Titan, hidden asteroids, they all contained caches. Ancient ships that still worked. Weapons that defied physics. Shield technology that could stop anything the Kalari threw at them. And most importantly, faster-than-light communication devices and star charts. The star charts showed everything. Trade routes, inhabited systems, and the location of Kalar Prime, the Kalari homeworld. President Grant studied the maps with her surviving military leaders. General Morrison traced the route to the enemy capital. It is 3 months away, even with conventional drives. But if we can reverse engineer their faster-than-light technology— How long? Grant asked. Dr. Hayes thinks 6 months if we rush it. We combine their technology with ours with what we found in the caches. We can build a fleet. A real fleet, fast enough to reach them, Admiral Chen added. We can take the fight to their home. Make them feel what we felt. Make them understand that attacking Earth has consequences. President Grant made the decision. Do it. Operation Retribution. We build a fleet. We take the war to them, and we make sure the galaxy knows. Humanity is not prey. We are predators. And we are done being victims. Construction began immediately. Orbital shipyards, damaged but functional, went to work. The ancient technology integrated with human engineering. Scientists worked around the clock. Soldiers who had survived the bombardment volunteered for the new fleet. Everyone wanted revenge. The Kalari continued their assault, but Earth's defenses grew stronger each day. The hidden weapons kept firing. New systems came online. Casualties on both sides climbed. Admiral Vonar received reinforcements, 200 more ships, but he also received new orders from Kalar Prime. End this war. The Empire was growing concerned about the cost. Vonar looked at his fleet. 400 ships now. Surely that was enough to crush one primitive planet. He planned a final assault. Everything at once. Break Earth's resistance forever. He had no idea what was coming. Behind Mars, hidden from Kalari sensors, 5 massive ships took shape. Built from human determination and ancient knowledge. They were weapons like nothing the galaxy had seen in thousands of years. Captain Nicole Barnes stood on the bridge of the Defiance and watched the construction crews finish their work. Her ship was a fortress and a weapon in one. She had lost her entire family in the bombardment. Now she commanded Earth's revenge. The other 4 ships, Vengeance, Fury, Justice, and Reckoning, floated nearby. Each one crewed by volunteers who had lost everything. Each one carrying weapons that could destroy worlds. President Grant sent them a final message before they launched. You carry Earth's fury. You carry our pain. Show the galaxy what happens when someone attacks humanity. Show them we remember. Show them we never forgive. The 5 ships powered up their new engines. The ancient technology hummed to life. Captain Barnes gave the order. All ships prepare for combat. We are going home. We are going to Earth. And then we are going to Kalar Prime. It is time the Kalari learned the truth about humans. Admiral Kresh Vonar studied the blue planet on his display screen. His sensors showed cities, roads, and technology everywhere. Radio signals bounced across the surface. Satellites orbited in neat patterns. This was definitely an intelligent species, but their technology looked primitive to Kalari eyes. Launch the contact drones, Vonar ordered. Let's see what we have here. 6 small drones descended toward Earth's atmosphere. They were programmed to gather information and establish communication. Vonar expected fear and submission from whoever lived down there. Every species reacted the same way when they saw Kalari warships. On Earth, alarms screamed across every military base. Radar stations tracked the alien fleet, Satellites transmitted images that made world leaders feel cold with terror. Hundreds of massive ships hung in space above their planet, ships that could only mean one thing. President Helen Grant sat in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by military advisors. General Jack Morrison pointed at the tactical display. They are launching something. Small craft moving fast toward our atmosphere. Shoot them down, President Grant said firmly. We need to show strength. Fighter jets scrambled from bases across North America. Missiles launched from destroyers in the Pacific. The alien drones were fast, but human weapons were faster. 5 of the 6 drones exploded before reaching the ground. One survived long enough to transmit images back to the Kalari fleet. Admiral Vonar laughed. They have spirit. Good, this will be entertaining. Target one of their military bases. Just a small one. Show them what happens when they resist. The Dark Talon fired a single beam weapon. The target was a remote missile facility in Nevada. The beam hit with perfect precision. The entire base, 200 soldiers and all the equipment disappeared in a flash of white light. No explosion, no fire. It simply ceased to exist. President Grant watched the footage. Her hands gripped the table edge. How many people? 200 confirmed dead, General Morrison said quietly. And they barely tried. That was a warning shot. The alien fleet transmitted a message. It took computers several hours to decode it, but the meaning was clear. Surrender your world. Join the Kalari Empire. Submit or be destroyed. You have one planetary rotation to decide. General Morrison pulled up classified files. We have options. They don't know what we have prepared. We have been planning for this scenario for 30 years. President Grant remembered the discovery that had changed everything. 40 years ago, a mining crew on Mars found something buried in the sand, a probe ancient beyond measure with a warning message. You are not alone. Build weapons, be ready. The galaxy is hostile. Since then, every major nation had poured resources into secret military projects, weapons that the public knew nothing about. Ships hidden in lunar craters, bases hollowed out inside asteroids. Humanity had been preparing for war with an unknown enemy. What do we have that can hurt them? President Grant asked. Admiral Lisa Chen pulled up schematics. The Valiant. She is hidden behind the moon. Nuclear pulse propulsion, railguns, prototype shields. She is not much compared to their fleet, but she can fight. And Captain Ryan Scott is the best we have, General Morrison added. If anyone can hurt these aliens, it's him. The Kalari sent another message. To emphasize their power, they destroyed a communications satellite, then another. Then they targeted a civilian facility in Brazil, a weather station staffed by 300 researchers. The beam weapon fired again. President Grant stood up. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady. They just killed civilians. They made their choice. We make ours. Order Captain Scott to engage. Show them that Earth fights back. Behind the moon, the EDS Valiant powered up her systems. Captain Ryan Scott addressed his crew of 80 men and women. They think we are easy prey. They think we will surrender. They are wrong. Today we show them what humans do when someone threatens our home. Today we make them bleed. The Valiant accelerated out from lunar shadow, moving fast on nuclear explosions. Kalari sensors detected her immediately. Admiral Vonar studied the lone ship approaching his fleet. One ship? They send one ship against 300? Destroy it. 4 Kalari destroyers moved to intercept. They expected a quick kill. They did not expect what happened next. The Valiant fired her railguns. Solid tungsten rounds accelerated to impossible speeds. One round punched straight through a Kalari destroyer's shields and tore through the hull. The ship broke apart, spilling atmosphere and bodies into space. The other destroyers returned fire, but the Valiant was already moving. Her pilot, Lieutenant Karen Foster, flew like she was born in space. Captain Scott targeted a second destroyer. Fire missiles. Full spread. Nuclear-tipped missiles, each with yields measured in megatons, streaked toward the Kalari ships. The aliens shot down most of them, but 3 got through. The explosions were visible from Earth's surface. Another destroyer died. A third was crippled and drifting. Admiral Vonar was no longer laughing. How are they this dangerous? They should not have weapons like this. They are pre-space flight. The 4th destroyer caught the Valiant with a direct hit. Her shields failed. Her hull cracked open. Atmosphere vented. Captain Scott, bleeding from a head wound, transmitted a final message to Earth. We hurt them. Make them pay. Make them regret they ever found us. The Valiant exploded. 80 brave souls died. but they had destroyed 2 ships and damaged a third. 300 Kalari were dead. The fleet that was supposed to conquer Earth had just lost their first battle. Admiral Vonar stared at the debris field. 1 primitive ship had killed 300 of his soldiers. What would happen when the planet deployed its full military? For the first time, doubt crept into his mind. But pride and anger pushed it away. "Send the surrender terms," he ordered. "Tell them to submit now, or we will sterilize their planet from orbit." No more warnings, no more chances. On Earth, President Grant received the message. Around her, military leaders waited for orders. The Valiant was gone, their best ship destroyed in the first engagement. But they had proven something important. The aliens could be hurt. They could be killed. "Send our response," President Grant said. "One word, no." General Morrison looked concerned. "They have 300 ships. We have shown them our best weapon and they destroyed it. They will bombard us." "Let them try," President Grant said. "They think we are weak because we are new to space. They think we will break. They don't understand what they are dealing with. We are human. We don't surrender when threatened. We fight harder." Admiral Lisa Chen pulled up more classified files. "We have other assets. Hidden weapons. Systems they don't know about. If they want to fight us, we will show them what humans have been building." The Kalari fleet received Earth's response. One word. No. Admiral Vonar felt rage flood through him. How dare this primitive species refuse the Kalari Empire? They would learn their place. All ships begin bombardment. Target their military installations. Show them the price of defiance. Energy beams lanced down from orbit. Missiles followed. The bombardment of Earth had begun. Military bases exploded. Command centers burned. Thousands died in the first hour. But as Kalari weapons fell from the sky, something else happened. Across Earth's continents, hidden doors opened. Secret facilities activated. Weapons that had been built in secret for decades rose from underground bunkers. Missile silos that did not exist on any public map opened their hatches. The aliens wanted a war. Earth was about to give them one. And the Kalari were going to learn why the ancient warnings had told them to stay away. They were going to discover that humans were not myths or legends. They were survivors. They were fighters. And they were very, very angry. Admiral Vonar watched his tactical display as new targets appeared. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Hidden weapons all across the planet, all coming online at once. His sensors officer looked terrified. "Sir, I think we made a mistake." Vonar did not answer. He was too busy staring at the screen, watching as Earth prepared to fight back with everything they had. The conference room on Kalar Prime hummed with low voices. Commander Vex Thornall sat at the long metal table, his scaled fingers tapping against the surface. Around him, other military leaders of the Kalari Empire discussed the day's agenda. They were the rulers of 200 star systems, masters of half the Orion Arm, and they feared nothing. The holographic display flickered to life at the center of the table. Ancient symbols appeared, carved into stone that predated their empire by thousands of years. Vex leaned forward, studying the images. He had seen these markings before on different worlds and different systems. They all told the same story. The myth of the humans, High Commander Zara Kelton said, her voice dripping with mockery. "Are we really wasting time on children's stories?" Dr. Zell Corthan stood at the front of the room. She was old for a Kalari. Her scales faded to a dull gray. She had spent 40 years studying these ruins, traveling to dozens of planets, documenting everything. Her life's work stood before them on that screen. "These are not stories," Zell said firmly. "Every civilization we have discovered has records of this species. They described the same creatures. Bipedal mammalian persistence hunters. They called them humans. And they all say the same thing. The humans were dangerous beyond measure." Vex examined the translations. The warnings were consistent across cultures that had never contacted each other. Beings with 2 arms and 2 legs who could run for days without stopping. Creatures that formed bonds so strong they would die for each other without hesitation. A species that could turn anything into a weapon. Animals that thought like predators but had the intelligence of advanced beings. "They vanished 5,000 years ago," Zell continued. "Every trace of them disappeared. But before they did, they left warnings. Stay away from their home. Never wake them. Never provoke them." High Commander Zara stood up, her tail swishing with irritation. "Enough. These are legends meant to frighten primitive species. We have explored thousands of worlds and never found evidence of these humans. They are fantasy, nothing more." Other commanders nodded in agreement. The Kalari Empire had no equals. Their weapons could shatter planets. Their fleets could darken the skies of entire systems. What could some mythical species do against their might? Zell pulled up more data. Look at this. 17 different languages, 17 different worlds, all describing the same thing. They say humans could survive wounds that would kill any other species. They say humans never forgot an injury. They say humans were pack hunters who coordinated attacks with terrifying efficiency. Fairy tales, Zara said dismissively. I move that we end funding for this research. Dr. Corthan, your work is appreciated, but we have real threats to address. The council voted quickly. 15 commanders in favor of ending the research, 2 against. Vex was one of the 2. Something about those warnings bothered him. His instincts, honed over decades of military service, told him to be careful. But he was outvoted. Zell gathered her materials with shaking hands. 40 years of work dismissed in minutes. She looked at Vex as she left. They made a mistake, Commander. Those warnings were not written to scare people. They were written to save them. 3 weeks later, Vex found himself on the bridge of the warship Dark Talon, reviewing reports from the frontier. Scout ships had been detecting unusual energy signatures in Sector 242. That region had been off limits for as long as the Kalari had records. Ancient navigation beacons surrounded it, broadcasting warnings in languages that nobody could fully translate. The best translation teams had worked on those beacons for decades. The message was roughly the same on all of them. Turn back, danger ahead, the cradle of fury, choose life, not death. Captain Helm Vortax stood beside Vex, examining the scan data. Significant mineral deposits, multiple star systems, at least 4 planets in habitable zones, and no one has claimed any of it. Because of the warnings, Vex said quietly. Because of superstition, Helm corrected. The Empire needs resources. Our expansion continues. This sector represents opportunity. Vex knew the captain was right from a strategic standpoint. The Empire was growing. They needed new worlds, new resources. But those warnings continued to nag at him. Who had built those beacons? And why had they worked so hard to keep everyone away? The decision came from the highest levels of government. An expedition fleet would enter Sector 242, map the region, and claim any valuable worlds for the Empire. Admiral Kresh Vonar would lead the mission. 300 warships, the largest expedition force assembled in 50 years. Vex watched the fleet depart from Kalar Prime. Hundreds of ships, each capable of destroying cities. Soldiers who had trained for decades. Weapons that could crack continents. Surely nothing could threaten such a force. In her small apartment, Dr. Zell Corthan watched the same broadcast. She had tried to warn them. She had presented all the evidence. But they refused to listen. She thought about all the ruins she had studied. The consistent warnings. The descriptions of humans as the most dangerous species ever discovered. One text had stayed with her for years. It came from a civilization that had died out 3,000 years ago. Their final message, carved into the walls of their last city, read, "We ignored the warnings. We thought we were strong. We thought the humans were myths. We were wrong. If anyone finds this, learn from our mistake. Never seek the human homeworld. Never disturb their rest. They do not forgive. They do not forget. They are patience made flesh and violence made purpose. We die now, but we die hoping that no one else will be foolish enough to wake them." Zell stared at her ceiling, unable to sleep. The expedition fleet was already crossing into Sector 242. If the humans were really there, if they were really as dangerous as the legends claimed, then the Kalari Empire had just made the worst decision in its 3,000-year history. Across the Empire, citizens celebrated. They were expanding again. New worlds meant new opportunities. The military leaders gave speeches about destiny and greatness. The Empire would grow stronger. Nothing could stop their progress. But in the darkness of space, the expedition fleet crossed through the ancient beacons. Automated systems older than any Kalari technology activated. They sent signals into the void, signals that traveled faster than light, reaching destinations unknown. Admiral Vonar stood on his bridge, feeling triumphant. 300 ships under his command. A whole new sector to explore. His name would be remembered forever as the admiral who opened Sector 242. His sensors officer called out. "Admiral, detecting a star system ahead. 1 yellow star, multiple planets. The 3rd planet from the star shows signs of technology." Vonar smiled. a civilization to conquer or subjugate. This mission was already proving worthwhile. Take us in. Prepare first contact protocols. The fleet moved toward the blue-green planet. None of them knew its name. None of them understood what they had found. They thought they were discovering a primitive world, easy prey for the Empire. They had no idea they had just found Earth. And Earth was about to remind the galaxy why the ancient warnings had been written.